Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from wherever you are, and welcome to my review of Super Mario Brothers movie. Yahoo! So the only reason I actually want to do a review of this one is because the audience score and the critic score is polarized. You know, the critics give it a middling 53%, and the audience is at 96%. I've got to side with the audience, not in giving the film, 9 out of 10 or something like that, but in that it's a good film. I really enjoyed it. Better than I expected. We're all Mario fans, okay? Anyone who's played a Mario game loves a Mario game, alright? It was only last week I was playing Super Mario 3D World. So, we're all fans of the franchise. We all love it. And one of the things that sticks out the most about the franchise is the sound design and the music. And this is my biggest criticism of this film. Well, there's a few, but this is my biggest criticism. And by the way, this is a spoiler-free review. I'll just make that clear. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. How can you have a mixture of some of the greatest video game music of all time mixed in with contemporary music? It's such a clash of cultures, and it's the biggest negative I could give this film, because when they take the game score and put the orchestra behind it and really give it like the movie flair, it is phenomenal, like some of the best you ever heard. It's amazing, but at the same time you've got things like I Need a Hero and Aha playing and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, oh, the contrast is just unacceptable. So my my wish would be, when this gets a release on digital, please, for the love of God, go back and redo the score. And everywhere where there's that crappy contemporary music that Illumination infests all its animations with, take it out and just add more famous Mario tunes. There are so many that they literally had the pick of the litter. So that's my biggest criticism. My second biggest criticism is they throw too much in the film. And it kind of is like, well, there's going to be a sequel because this film's made bank. It's predicted to make 150 million over the weekend, which is insane. And I think it does deserve it, if I'm being perfectly honest. Because, I'll get to that stuff. But they threw a lot in. It was fun, and I liked all the stuff they threw in. But then you go to the second one, it's like, okay, you're going to have to go to the more, like, obscure games now to pull things in and all of that. But that being said, let's get into the film. So, the film literally carbon copies the start of the infamous 1993 film. I think it was 93. It must have been around there, 93 film. Carbon copy. If you remember the start of that film and what was going on, this is pretty much it. And there is a fun bit. I'm sure you've seen the trailer to the advert and all that. So they post an advert out there on TV, and they're doing like the original Mario and Luigi voices, and and then when they come out of that and they've all watched it at this bar, Mario's like, did we really overdo it a bit with the voices? So that's a nice little nod. And I know you're gonna think, well, voices, what about the voices? We'll get to the voices. So an incident happens in Brooklyn, and so Mario and Luigi are like, we can fix this, no problem. So they go into the sewers to try and fix a massive flooding in Brooklyn, and upon almost getting to fixing the problem, things go wrong. They plummet down, and they crash through a wall, and they see a big green pipe. You know where this is going. This is the same exact thing that happened in the original film. The exact same setup. It's hilarious, but it is a nice homage. I don't hate the original like other people do. It's not like it's a guilty pleasure. It's a great film. It's just a fun film for what it was. It's just a shame it was a Mario film. But I could happily put it on and enjoy the silliness of it. The fact that it carbon copies the film just cracks me up. Anyway, so Green Pipe, they go through, and here, some critics were complaining about this, where Mario and Luigi kind of split and go their separate ways. But I thought it was a good motivator, a good driving force behind it. Luigi got to see the kind of darker sides of the kingdom. I forgot the name of Bowser's kingdom now. Great, brilliant. Anyway, and then Mario shoots off obviously into the Mushroom Kingdom, and that's the plot. The plot is Mario needs to save his brother. Simple plot, works perfectly well. It's a good motivation rather than having them both get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom and then trying to convince them to fight on your side. It's like, yeah, you've got to go those extra miles to kind of convince people to fight. Especially with Luigi being very cowardly in this and all of that. So you have a great simple plot like that. That's all a film needs. Just keep it simple, and it's pretty much go from there. We get introduced to Toad, who was great fun. Toad's my personal favourite character. The funny thing is, when I play like the Mario games where you get to choose different characters, I'm always either Peach or Toad. And Toad was fun, he's the adventurer Toad that we've seen in the games and that. So that was great to see. And very funny, brilliantly voiced. I think it was Michael Keane that voiced him. I will check that later. And then from Toad, obviously, they go off. He helps Mario to get to the princess. And the princess is voiced by Anya Joy-Taylor or something like that. She does a great job. The animation on Peach sometimes looks a little bit off in places. But I've got to say off the bat, I'm glad we got Super Mario 3D World Peach and not your standard, oh God, I've been kidnapped Peach. So she was great in it. She was fantastic. She was really good. She's like a badass in this. But it's not like I'm a badass straight away and that's it. Get a little backstory with her and all this kind of stuff. So, and that's where you get like nice little Easter eggs with some of the flashback scenes, which I won't talk about there. But Bowser's motivations in this is basically he wants to marry Peach. And that's his plot. And I think that's great because it's not just about conquering. It's a good old classic royalty tale of, hey, I could conquer the worlds and all that, but how about we unite the kingdoms and, make little weird looking sprogs, probably. Bowser was the star of the show. And I've got to say that this is Jack Black's magnum opus. Now that is saying a lot considering the stuff that he's been in. I mean, I know one of his most beloved films is School of Rock. Great film. But this, for me, is his best performance by a country mile. He was born to play Bowser. He just... when you see a performance and you're just in awe of it. And this is, pixels. And just a voice. But you're just in awe. He's so amazing. And it's just this one bit where it's very Jack Black, but the best side of Jack Black. And it's brilliant. And by far the star of the show. And if this film had come out before award season, or the run-up to award season, he should have been nominated for Best Performance. Because just amazing. Like... From a film like this, especially with the contentious casting of Chris Pratt as Mario, Jack Black is just, I'd say the polar opposite, but here's the thing. Chris Pratt and Charlie Day were fantastic as Mario and Luigi. We were all worried about Mario being voiced by Chris Pratt, but I've got to tell you, once you're in the film, it doesn't bother you at all. And there's, he does a couple of little Mario-isms within there, which are quite funny, because they're bad Mario-isms, but it's funny that it's coming from him. And fantastic performance by Chris Pratt. There just wasn't a bad voice performance in this whole film. All of it was amazing. It was brilliantly cast. Of course, you know, with Marrow, yes, we would have preferred the original voice actor to do it. There's no reason why you need to go Hollywood A-list. But Chris Pratt is great, and it's a great cast, and you want to see more. Seth Rogen, again, absolutely kills it as Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong was my second favourite character in this. He was just hilarious the whole way. He was just big, stupid, but very driven, and just fantastic. Just completely fearless and crazy and ruthless, and just I loved it. And there's like a bit you would have seen in the trailers where the kind of Luigi and all that, obviously he's captured by Bowser and they're all hanging in their prisons, and you've got like this very kind of nihilistic character caught up in there, and that was again one of the highlights of this film, the nihilistic character, which was hilarious. And yeah, just overall just a lot of fun. Again, we get a Mario Kart section which was way better and had a reason to be there than expected. It was beautifully shot. The action scenes in that are great. The fact that it's not so straightforward that, yeah, we'll just go here and we'll set up a nice scene of us driving around and and lovely pretty, yeah, we've got the Mario Kart segment. No, all hell breaks loose, and it's just that was my favourite scene. And just absolute chaos, and Bowser is just relentless throughout the whole film as well. It's just no moments of weakness, and just a good laugh all the way through. And I laughed quite a lot in this as well, which I didn't expect to do, which I should really, because, you know, it's Illumination. They do comedy really, really well, except for the despicable stuff that they've milked to death and is no longer funny. Anyway, so of course, yes, we have this big battle, and then, you know, things go wrong for the heroes, and they have to kind of regroup and refine themselves. Again, great storytelling. It's just by the numbers, but it's by the numbers that's good by the numbers. You know, everyone has their down moments, and of course, you know, in the end, heroes rise up together and defeat the enemies. That's not really a spoiler, you know, that's kind of coming. However, the one bit I definitely won't spoil, but yet again, they copy the film for the final act. And it's crazy. I can't believe it. And I didn't like that they did that. I didn't like it. When they chose to do that, I was just like, oh, come on, man. First of all, that's exactly what they did in the live action film. And you're doing it here, and not a fan of it. But that bit aside, the final battle, just brilliant. Just brilliant. You know, you're cheering for your heroes, and just a satisfying ending, a satisfying film throughout. A couple of little gripes here and there was a little bit childish, a little bit too childish, considering that the core audience are not going to be children that are watching this, but it's like, you know, that much of a gripe. And so, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it way more than I thought I would, because when I was watching the trailers, I said, I'm either going to really like this film or really hate this film. I don't think there's going to be an in-between. And thankfully, I really like this film, and I highly recommend it. And my final rating is 2 thumbs up and a big fat 8 out of 10. 2 points deducted, because you see, people always do like, I'm going to give this 7 out of 10, and then that's it. But I always like to give reasons why I deduct certain points. So 2 points deducted is, one is for half of the score being atrocious by using contemporary pop music, and the second bit is again copying too many elements from the live action film and throwing one too many things in, you know, into the first film that they could have left for sequels. With that being said, can't wait for the sequel. I hope they don't blow the sequel. You know, there's still so much to do, but really change the score before you release this on digital. And that is all. Let normality resume. Bye.